with my dad in about 42 years.
Thank you for coming. This might be a little unusual because I've been at wakes before and don't often find the husband giving a eulogy. Well, this is not a eulogy, but I am the husband. And there are a few things that I want to say about Sheila as we sit here remembering her and saying goodbye to her. There are a few thoughts that I want to tell you in the privacy of my family and friends. Some of the words will be hard for me, and you'll just have to let me pause for a moment until I can get them out. I think it is absolutely necessary that I do it. As you all know, Sheila was a great mother, an attentive grandmother, and a good friend. The things I want to tell you about, you do not know. There are things that only I know. I know her for 67 years, since she was 18 years old. And she was my wife for a few months short of 63 years. I put an engagement ring on her finger in row 17 on the left side of the main aisle of the chapel at Trinity College, where she attended the university there. All the good things that you've observed and experienced in your contact with her flow from that date. And they're pretty much the same as mine, what you observed. She was love, her smile, a Christian woman. She was pretty. She was funny. She was bright. And she was helpful. And these are just a few of the adjectives used to describe her. But she was so much more. Let me enlighten you. The start of our lives together was not unusual. There were many adjustments made by both of us at the start of our wedding and life together, and they continued throughout our lives together. She was the one who made most of the adjustments, and she did it quietly most of the time. I realized somewhere around our 20th year together that her concessions were not my victories, but hers. She changed me. I changed her a little bit. God was always a vital part of our lives and our private conversations together. We did not set out planning to have 9 children. They were part of God's unrevealed plans for us. We talked about children. We talked about children more than any other subject. I thought about affordability. She felt that affordability was God's problem. Each child was a gift from the beginning. she was knew that God was trusting us, and she told me that. God is trusting us to raise these children that he was giving to her and to teach them to love and honor him and to lead others to him. I know that this is in the Bible, but I learned it from her. When we do our job, God will do his. And so it happened. God gave us 9 children, and his children, 9 children to raise, and we did the best that we could. But God did his part. He even added a huge bonus of 36 grandchildren. Sheila felt that the grandchildren were also hers. Only that now God was permitting others to foot the bill. Another lesson she taught me was about the mystical character of love. You can love 54 children and grandchildren and a husband and give 100% of your love to each. She gave her 100% love to each grandchild with cards and annual back-to-school parties and going to dance recitals and play recitals and sports and baptisms and holy communions and confirmations, but only one wedding. I want to thank you, Maggie and Dan. And now her last and greatest gift to me, her last 3 months were wonderfully happy, even though at the times they were sad. But on the whole, they were glorious. I waited on her every need, day and night, and loved her. We got closer and closer together during that period. We talked a lot at first, but as August came and went, so did her ability to express herself. So she could only speak with her eyes, which were mostly smiling. In her last 2 months, we were seldom alone. All of our children, and 10 or 15 of our grandchildren, came to be with her day and night. They fed her, bathed her, did the laundry, gave medicine, took her to doctor appointments, held her hand, and when they came, what did she do? She looked at them and smiled with her eyes. Never a complaint, just loving, understanding eye smile. She no longer was able to hold and pray the rosary and a Divine Mercy Caplet with me. In her last hour, I am sure she was praying with me as I prayed the Divine Mercy in her ear, and she was surrounded at that time by her 9 children. What was special about this woman? Her last gift to me was. It was her greatest gift. She finally got in my head. What God's love really is. It's not just keeping the score. I already everybody knew that. It is not to make someone happy or to make them feel loved. It's all that and more. She taught me in the last few days that I loved her not at her need to be loved, but my need to love her. It was impossible not to. And therefore she taught me I should love my God, not out of God's need for me to love him, but out of my need to be with him, and now, in my need, to be with her someday. Finally, I want to end this with an observation from my children, and with a song whose title I cannot remember. First, from my children, who for years have referred to me as the nerd that got lucky. I resisted that observation. Now I embrace it. I have been so blessed. As for the song, with the unknown title, let me paraphrase. I've memorized every line on her face. Not even death can ever erase the love that she gave to me. I'll miss her. Oh, how I'll miss her. I'll dream of her and maybe cry a million tears. But the sadness will part. It will pass. And the one thing that will last is the love she has given me. Thank you for coming.